Morning, folks. I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters and Pathfinder School, back out here at the Pathfinder Outfitters kitchen. I've got some sourdough bread baking over here in the Dutch oven over some hot coals on a coal stand. That video information, all of the stuff about that sourdough bread starter, all that kind of stuff is on my Patreon page, which there'll be a link at the bottom of this video. Today what we're going to do is we're going to cook a frontier staple. We're going to make potato soup. So stay with me and we'll get started, guys. It's going to be good. Okay, so we started up by peeling and cutting up 6 potatoes. And these potatoes were cut in about 3/4 inch squares. You want them as close as possible to each other so they all cook at the same time with the same consistency. Now, we're also going to need to add an onion to this recipe. So let's get the skin off this onion here. And then we're just going to dice up this onion. 1/8 inch-ish is fine. We're going to get some bacon. We're going to get it in a Dutch oven and get it cooking. And we're going to cook about 4 slices of this bacon. This is Applewood smoked, just Jimmy Dean bacon, right from Piggly Wiggly. And that's going to be our next step. So we'll cut this bacon open here. And we'll get it in a Dutch oven, frying up. I think the best bacon on the planet, but for sure. It's going to have to do for today. So let's put 4 slices in there. Okay, once we get this bacon fried up, we're pretty close on a couple of these here. We're going to set those aside to use as garnishment, basically, for our soup. That one's definitely done there. And you want these kind of done till they're crispy, because you're going to break them up. So if you like limpy bacon like I do in the morning, you're going to have to cook it longer than you want to. Okay, now that we've got this grease in here, we're going to go ahead and stick our onions in that grease. And we're also going to take a couple cloves of garlic and just smash them up and throw them in there. We'll take about 4 out of this jar. And I don't mind smashing stuff up with my fingers. Don't bother me a bit. And then this only takes a couple minutes. When those onions get wilted down good, and it starts to get fragrant and garlicky smelling and onion smelling. All right, well, that's getting started. We're going to go ahead and throw some butter in here. About 1/4 stick is enough. Just so I happen to have had that left over anyway. So we'll let that melt down. All right, to this, we're going to add 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour. We're going to stir that flour in really good. To this mixture and get it mixed in with the grease, the onions, garlic, all that good stuff, the butter. Get ourselves a little bit of roux in here surrounding that onion and garlic slurry. Okay, to that we're going to add 1, 2, about 2.5 cups. A little light on some of that. About 2.5 cups of chicken broth. A cup of milk. 3/4 cup of heavy whipping cream. And we're going to add potatoes to this. Stir it in. When we get to this point, we can bring the whole thing to a boil. All right, so while this is boiling, we're gonna add a shade of black pepper, a bit of seasoned salt if we can get it to come out of here. There we go. About a teaspoon of each is good. And we're gonna stir that in really good. Okay, so I had some chives here that I was going to use to top this soup with some bacon, obviously, and some cheese. But them chives were so wilted and sorry that I decided to cut them up and put them in the soup and just cook them in there. You can see the green in there where I've cut them up. They definitely weren't something you could dice down like really nice chives and sprinkle them over the top. Learned my lesson on that. Get my chives somewhere else the next time. But our soup is getting really close to being ready. You just kind of want to test these potatoes and see if they're soft. You know, test a few of them and make sure. You definitely don't want to bite into a hard potato when you're eating potato soup. See what we got going on here. Take this lid off this bad boy for a minute. Shovel some of this soup out. Man, oh man, look at that. Holy cow. Ain't gonna take much of that to fill you up, for crying out loud. Man, oh man, look at that. That looks good for sure. About to find out though, ain't we? Now, a couple things. I like to take some of that bacon that I cooked, crumble that up really good on top, just like that. And then chili powder, just a dibble of that chili powder on top of things. And then of course some cheese and sour cream. Put a little cheese on there. Get some sour cream and get us a craft soda. We'll be ready to rock. All right. Squeeze a little sour cream in here. Just like that. Call that good. And then, have a seat. See what we got. We got a dark cream Italian style Caruso's vanilla soda here. We'll see how that goes. Save a little bacon for Zahn. Save a little bacon for another bowl. And like that. Mix this up. See what we got going on here. Man, that is definitely good. Oh man. And potatoes are perfectly tender. Son. Man, that's good. Golly. Hot in the middle. Woo. Man. Well, let's see what that vanilla cream tastes like. Oh, that's really good. Oh man, that's really good. Well, that's one of the better craft sodas I've had lately. That's a good one. Golly, this stuff's good. Folks, I really appreciate you joining me today at the Outfitter's Kitchen for this homemade potato soup recipe. Again, the full recipes and things like that are going to be on my Patreon page. Some of the stuff on that page is public, some of it is not. I would appreciate it if you go check out that link below in the description box. I appreciate your views. I appreciate your support. I thank you for everything you do for our school, for our family, and for our business, for all of our sponsors, instructors, affiliates, and friends. And I'll be back with another video as soon as I can, guys. Thanks. Man. Tear that thing up. John ain't waste no time with that bacon, is he? Get some piece here in just a second.